Once again, we return to the well of absolutely classic beat-em-ups with Streets of Rage 2, the follow-up to one of the greatest beat-em-ups out there, though this one is apparently even better. Another Sega Genesis original, Streets of Rage 2, was unleashed on North America on December 15th of 1992, just in time to land under the Christmas trees of all the good boys and girls out there. Japan and Europe, however, had to wait until January 14th of the following year to be blessed by this one. Streets of Rage 2 takes place but 1 year after the original game, in the same city, which still doesn't have a name to my knowledge, but it's called Wood Oak City in 4, so we'll keep with the canon. Our heroes gather to reminisce about their victory over Mr. X and his dastardly syndicate. The trio part ways from one another after a night of celebration, but unfortunately in the shadows of Wood Oak City, evil is looming once again. Mr. X survived the first game and is back with a vengeance. This time though with a bit of a devilish plan, one that he puts into action the following day. Blaze receives a panicked phone call from Eddie Skate Hunter, Adam's younger brother. Skate informs them that his home has been ransacked and Adam is nowhere to be found. Blaze and Axel investigate the scene, immediately suss out that this is the Syndicate's doing via a picture of Adam in chains at the feet of Mr. X that was left at the scene. The disappearance of Adam and the re-emergence of Mr. X has caused every low-down dirtbag in Wood Oak City to retake the streets in the name of crime. Knowing they have to do something about their nemesis, Blaze and Axel attempt to contact their old friends at the Wood Oak Police Department. You know, these guys. But as it turns out, those brave actual officers of the law have either quit or transferred elsewhere, unsurprisingly, leaving the intrepid duo without backup this time out. Fortunately though, Skate wants to aid in the rescue of his brother, so he immediately signs up with the two to help. Though I won't lie, I do find it kind of questionable that our heroes would let a literal child join this crusade. Skate is like, what, 14 maybe? I guess it doesn't matter too much, but still, a little strange. Axel also decides to contact an old friend of his, one Max Thunder, a massive professional wrestler who happily joins the trio due to his close friendship with Axel. A new alliance formed, the fearsome foursome take to the Streets of Rage once again to take out the Syndicate and restore order to the city. This is where Streets of Rage 2 begins, of course. Before we get to the game proper though, I'd like to take a moment to show you the Japanese cover art for this game, which honestly looks like the ghost of Arnold Schwarzenegger is laughing at our protagonists. To the game itself now though, you of course have those brave four fighters to select from, each of course with their own unique attributes and movesets, though this time it's a bit more refined since we have 4 characters instead of just 3. The stats have now expanded from just power, jump, and speed to power, technique, speed, jump, and stamina, which of course helps our heroes feel even more distinct from one another. On a spectrum, Max is the strongest character with the most health. Axel's right behind him with decent power, okay speed, and good technique. Blaze has actually become the balanced character of the cast, not really excelling anywhere but not being caught lacking in any category, and Skate is now the speedster of the 4. It makes sense since he's a kid on skates. Pick your preferred warrior and wage your vigilante crusade once more. Obviously, I picked the grappler and Max. I never change really, since I always play the beefy boys in both fighting games and beat-em-ups too. You drop into the downtown area of Wood Oak, and you are blessed with the strongest piece of opening music in all of gaming, the venerable Go Straight. It is so damn good. Oops, time to lavish praise on Yuzo Koshiro again really quick. The soundtrack for Streets of Rage 2 is once again composed by the GOAT, and this one's music slaps even harder than the original's tracks. Wall-to-wall bangers, and yet Opera GX didn't even put this game on their top 100 list. Idiots. Anyway, as per usual, Streets of Rage 2 is a side-scrolling beat-em-up, fundamentally the same as its predecessor with quite a few tweaks and changes to help improve the formula. You still have your normal attacks, combos, and the autogram system, of course. You know, the classics, but as for what's changed, well, you no longer have the police backup from the first game. Instead, you just have a more standard get-off-me attack instead. Costs life, is invincible, and it does good damage, of course. You also have 2 of these, since by using the desperation attack button and the forward motion in tandem, you get a completely different attack. This can help you plow through a bad situation and reposition yourself easily in a pinch. You also get a normal dashing attack now too. Probably should have started with that one, huh? You execute this with a quick double tap forward and the attack button. This is a great addition since it lets you initiate a fight from a bit farther away, and it can also help with combos and, in Max's case, mobility, since his is a super long range sliding kick. It's honestly more fast to move around with this move than just walking. In addition to just your normal jumping attack, which knocks foes to the ground, you get a command normal attack in the air by pressing down an attack, which stuns foes for a free conversion into a regular combo. This also lets you initiate from a bit farther out, like your dash attack. Very useful for a big slow fucker like Max. Every character also has their unique abilities as well. Max has a super devastating jumping throw, for instance. Its It's an atomic drop, since I'm sure you're curious. Blaze retains her knife specialization, even being able to combo with them now, and Skate actually has a full-on sprint he can use. I won't lie, the different character stats actually do really feel like they mean something this time out. You really do feel the difference in hitting someone as Max, the highest power character, and Axel, who was only 1 star in power beneath him. Enemy-wise, each foe now has a life bar, and bosses who have multiple life bars to deplete are given a little star next to their health bar, letting you know how many you have to plow through before they finally die. Overall, all these additions greatly improve on the base systems from 1. I won't lie though, I do miss my get off me attack being a dude rolling up with a fucking bazooka to blast the streets, but having just a normal get off me style attack helps make the game flow even smoother. Stage-wise, Streets of Rage 2 once again features 8 stages to battle through, all of which are populated by hundreds of street punks that quite frankly need to be taught a lesson in manners. Returning from the first game are but 3 basic foot soldiers of crime. Street punk number 1 Galcia is once again out in force in Wood Oak, alongside his vastly more deadly variant in Knife Galcia, who, by the way, much quicker in this game. Signal returns too, more notable white mohawk atop his head, and of course his throw and slide attacks intact. Young Buck Hakio is back too, with a nice jumping kick added to his arsenal alongside the normal super kick. I know I said only 3 basic grunts, but Mistress of Pain Nora technically is in the game too, but you encounter her first under the moniker of Electra. Expanding the criminal roster quite a bit, Streets of Rage 2 adds 6 new grunts to battle, most notably being Donovan here. Shade-wearing thug with a mean anti-air uppercut and will often be slanging a pipe to menace you with. Looks-wise, I think my favorite of these newcomers would be the Riders here, who are these rad shirtless bikers wearing camo and feathery boas for a bit of flair. They're great. Since they're riders, these dudes of course try to run you down on their motorcycles too. This mobility actually makes them quite annoying to deal with, but the ones on the bike tend to just take 1 hit and die instantly. Makes sense, really. On foot, they're no less intimidating though, since they can also swing pipes, and they also have the deadliest technique of all, which is...
Oh, Nelson!
Ninja will now accost you too, being incredibly nimble and deadly assassins, often throwing kunai or slashing with katana. These guys are definitely the deadliest of the normal foes that you will encounter in this game. Jack here is typically a sub-boss you encounter and will always pull a knife on you to attack, either out of his pocket or off the ground.
But I think we will now fight with knives.
What? Yeah, to the death!
Bongo from the previous game seems to have suffered a downgrade to red shirt cannon fodder, now a hat-clad fatty who can breathe fire and belly flop onto you. Muay Thai fighter Eagle is the last of our new regulars. Fairly competent fighter with a deadly leaping knee attack, of course. As for bosses, well, we'll do those by stage. In downtown Wood Oak, you'll battle through the city streets before starting a bar fight in the second segment of the level. Sadly though, the bottle weapon does not return in this game. Neither do the pepper shaker or the baseball bat. Rest in peace, heroes. I mentioned all the new weapons and returning ones already, but I bet you're curious about one thing. Is the ground food back? Of course it is, silly. Apples and ground turkey return to heal you, and you have money bags and gold bars to give you points, which are important, of course, since points give you additional lives. You fight Nora in the bar while the level's first boss slinks off into the background. You meet him in the back alley, and first boss Barbon attacks you. A newcomer and Taekwondo master, Barbon has a very deadly array of kicks and throws to put you back if you get too close. Thankfully, throw teching still exists in this game, so you can easily tech if you just practice a bit, you know? You put Barbon down, and it's onto a bridge that's currently under construction. Riders harass you in force here, even tossing stick grenades at you. You eventually manage to make it to a massive truck, which is the source of all these damn bikers. This is where you first fight a Hakuyo, while his biker buddies cheer him on. After you destroy him, all of his friends decide to attack, of course. Beat them all down, escape to the last bits of the bridge, where you encounter Boss 2, Jet. This guy's actually pretty unique since, well, he uses a fucking jetpack hovering over the battlefield and accosting you with diving kicks and tackles. He's also the lowest life boss for sure, most likely due to his awkward flying hitbox, which makes him hard to combo easily. Cool this fella's jets, and you move on to the most festive level in Streets of Rage 2, the amusement park. You battle to reclaim the roller coasters and merry-go-rounds from evil before you end up in an arcade, which features Streets of Rage 1 arcade cabinets, which those didn't actually exist, I don't think. I love that the thugs are playing them too, meaning they've picked one of the original heroes and are beating themselves, their friends, and their own boss up if they get that far. And then after that you fight on a fucking pirate ship. Here I am, swinging a katana on a pirate ship, killing gang members. You know what? That's awesome. Go over the top with your level designs in games like this. It rocks. To get even wilder, after a brief intersection, you end up in an H.R. Geiger alien house of horror. You even get to do battle with a animatronic alien head named Vehelitz. At least I think it's an animatronic, but this early sketch right here says real alien, so the Syndicate might have gone intergalactic to take me down here. Clobber the Xenomorph and you'll run afoul of Boss 3, Zamza, a low-rent Garuda if I've ever seen one. On the road now to Sega Stadium. Hey everybody, let's do some baseball! And yeah, you just find a baseball stadium. Pretty cool, honestly. You reach the pitcher's mound and you begin taking an elevator down. Holy shit, is this a real thing? Can baseball arenas do this? Your enemies here also seem to show no fear whatsoever, since they all immediately leap down from above onto you. Syndicate's gotta offer like some good health insurance or something, man, because these goons are very dedicated, possibly insane. At the bottom of the elevator, you're once again assaulted by the Ultimate Warrior. Yes, Abadidi is back to menace you with lariats, and now he has a few throws in his arsenal too to mix things up. After the Ultimate Warrior goes down, you'll thusly end up on an old tanker ship. Man, this game really is taking us everywhere. I love that the ship is all grody and rusty too. It really looks like a shoddy crime syndicate boat for sure. On the ship's deck, you actually face off against a grunt version of Jet. Man, I wasn't expecting downgraded bosses so quickly, but hey, here we are. Enter the deck and you run to the boss of this stage, R. Bear, a fellow that I can really only describe as an old-timey circus strongman in boxing gloves. Very silly, but very fun. You put the bear down, you crash the tanker onto a beach, and you battle your way to a jungle base of all things. Okay, Sega, did you just say the stages in Streets of Rage 1 were too boring and decided to go crazy with this one? Because I very, very much respect it. After you fight through a blasted roadway, you run to the Double Trouble boss battle in Stealth and Souther. You've changed a lot, Souther. How'd you go from an Elm Street fetishist to a weeb? Very, very strange. You kill those two chaps and straight to a munitions plant. Jesus, okay, the Syndicate are really prepping for something far worse than just dominating one single city here. They gotta be going global with this. Watch out, Mad Gear, the Syndicate is coming. Here in the plant, I run across this ass muncher. Whoa. Maybe it's just because I'm playing Max, but I could not catch this dude at all. I hated him more than all the bosses so far. Get in my hands! Into the plant, you begin an ascent up a big-ass cargo elevator, which, won't lie, I do like the shifting backgrounds here. It's a nice little set piece, but I have to dock some points for not letting me throw my enemies to their deaths. Shameful display, Sega. It's in the first game, but not this one. Come on. Summit the elevator, and it's another Double Trouble boss, but it's two goddamn robots this time, named Molecule and Particle. These two use morning stars of all things to try and subdue you, but they aren't immune to some good old-fashioned wrestling. With their destruction, you've reached the endgame. Level 8, the Syndicate headquarters. What ensues here is an absolutely brutal gauntlet of enemies, including a ton of normal thugs, the just encountered robots as normal enemies, and smacked up versions of basically every boss in the game. Versions that are stronger, healthier, and will now bust out new moves that you will not be expecting. You find a majority of these bastards on a big elevator too, but one that's entirely indoors, so I can let go of that being able to toss people to their deaths thing I have an autistic hang-up over. But if you successfully defeat the gauntlet of enemies, you reach the top, where you're faced once more with Mr. X, this time flanked by his new bodyguard in Shiva. First take down some scrubs, and it's only after that that Mr. X sicks Shiva on you. It's a pretty damn scary foe to face. He's pretty much a fully functional player character in the NPC form. Thankfully, though, that means he dies just as easy as you. I actually brutalized him in a clinch because he was stupid enough to get caught. Get scooped, dumbass. Shiva falls, and once again Mr. X realizes he's gonna have to deal with you himself. This time out, though, he doesn't even give you the offer to join the Syndicate. He's a bit too smart for that this time, I suppose. However, he's basically the same as he was in the first game. He has his Tommy gun and the gun butt, which does make him insanely intimidating because gun in a fist-fighting game, but still, just the same as the last one, really. Much like in the first game, you beat him down, X starts to get up, and then he has a heart attack and fucking dies again. The heroes lord over a defeated Mr. X before they find and rescue Adam, who was locked away in Mr. X's sex dungeon. Adam is overjoyed to see his little brother and Axel, whilst Blaze and Max look on approvingly. Our heroes lock their gazes onto the dawn as a rescue helicopter crests over the horizon, and that's where Streets of Rage 2 concludes. What are my thoughts? This one is obviously a massive improvement over the original, for sure. Comboing is more fluid, all the new attacks are very usable, impactful, and feel awesome to use. All the levels are very flamboyant and crazy, stuff I've never seen in a beat-em up before or since. I'll say this one definitely is a bit easier than the first, though. I was racking up lives left and right as I was dismantling the Syndicate goons. It actually only took me one try to beat this game. Having normal clear-out attacks also helps make the game flow a lot smoother. Much as I love the artillery backup, it basically stopping the entire game game for a bit to execute slowed things down a little bit too much. This one also packs an all-timer soundtrack, thanks once again to the legendary Yuzo Koshiro. I also definitely appreciate the massive amount of color palettes for the game's basic thugs, and even having additional palettes for the bosses too is awesome. Playing this one also gave me a renewed appreciation for Streets of Rage 4, since all the palettes in this one are reused for that game, alongside basically all the attacks the characters use too. Streets of Rage 2 is really just an amazing game in every way. It's a top 10 beat 'em up of all time in my opinion, right up there with Final Fight, Golden Axe, and Double Dragon. Anyway, this video will end now. As always, dearest of viewers, my name is HadesManticore, this here channel is CityStateManticore, and thanks a ton for watching if you did. Be sure to drop a fat like, leave a comment, and subscribe, since, as always, there's more content to come. See y'all in the next one. Goodbye.